And he said, "What?" You know, any girl in America would give her left arm. I actually went to the airport with my suitcase. Around 1965, I was living in Boulder, Colorado. I had left Texas Tech University. And back then, back then, you had to take your pictures, your roll of film, into a store and have them developed. And so I took them into a photographer out of Boulder, and he developed them. And then when I came to pick them up, he said, "Have you done any modeling?" And I said, "No, not really." He said, "I showed your pictures to John Robert Powers in Denver, and she would like to see you." I did not consider myself to be pretty. I was tall and skinny and had a weird hairdo. But I went along, and they decided to take me on. And so I did some small jobs there. And then I moved to Hawaii, and there was an English photographer there. Her first name was Elizabeth, and she was the best photographer on the island. And she liked me, and so she used me for everything. So a lot of Hawaiian clothes and some fashion, with her. I was modeling on and off for 3 years and had other jobs that modeling was just kind of a fun sideline for me. I was going to go to Europe with a friend. We would just kind of go wherever we felt like at the moment. We ran out of money, so we stopped and helped some friends from Hawaii open a restaurant. So I was working as a waitress there and trying to make money to get to Europe. And a guy came in and he said, "I'm a New York photographer. Have you done any modeling?" I said, "Oh, yes, a little bit." And then he took the pictures to Eileen Ford. And so he came in and said, "I have some good news for you. Eileen Ford wants to see you." And I said, "Well, that's nice, but I'm on my way to Europe." And he said, "What?" Any girl in America would give her left arm. And I said, "Okay, well, I'll go see her." She said, "Well, we've decided we'll take you." And I said, "Well, that's really nice, but I'm on my way to Europe." And she said, "Well, you're kind of old." I was 24, but I looked about 16. And in fact, she told me, "You have to tell everyone that you're 16, because 24 at that time was, most models were over." She said, "I can't guarantee that we'll take you, if you spend a year in Europe." So I actually went to the airport with my suitcase and sat there. And I finally said, "Okay, I'm going to stay here for a month and see if I like it." Obviously, that was very naive because nothing happens in a month. And I was working quite well, more and more. And then Wilhelmina, who was one of the top models of the day then, decided that she was going to make her own modeling agency. And she quite liked me. And so she asked me if I would come to her agency. And I figured, I would have a better chance with Wilhelmina than, I'd probably get lost in the crowd at Eileen Ford. And then Wilhelmina said, "I think that you could do a lot better if you went to Europe, because the Americans like Europeans and the Europeans like American models. So, and they have so many countries, so they have so many magazines, so many more magazines. And you don't get paid as much, but, you'd work a lot more." And I preferred working in Europe. In Europe, you had much more control over how you looked and how your hair was. In New York, it was more like, you don't say anything, you just do what they tell you. In 1970, I landed a Vogue cover and two Bazaar covers in Italy, which kind of put me on the map over there. Modeling was my full-time career until I was almost 40. I still don't consider myself beautiful and never did. I'm extremely photogenic. The camera loves me.